Welcome everyone. Today we're diving into a contentious topic that has sparked considerable debate. And it is Donald Trump a racist? Is he a fascist? Or is he an elitist? Each of these terms carries significant implications, so let's dissect them and explore how Trump's actions align more closely with elitism rather than racism or fascism. To begin, it's essential to clarify distinctions between elitism, racism, and fascism. Now, one of the people said that a lot of voters are uninformed voters, or the uninformed voters. And I find that to be mainly true because a lot of people are voting based on emotions or basing their voting on race or gender. And a lot of these things are, they're not gonna cut it. They're not gonna help you as a person overall. So let's get started. Racism is a rigid, exclusionary ideology based upon race. So it's disregarding other factors such as wealth or social status. Now, elitism revolves around power and economic standing. It's about who you know and what you can offer financially. The United States is a business. The United States of America Corporation. It's a business at the end of the day. Now, fascism, this is totally unfounded. Fascism is characterized by being a dictator, authoritarianism, strong nationalism, or suppression of dissent. Fascism regimes seek to impose strict societal control. Look at China or something like that. Now, it's often scapegoating marginalized groups and prioritizing the state over the individual rights. Look at China. Now, Trump's history reveals a consistent pattern. He is more inclined to engage with the wealthy and influential, and that is regardless of their race or any of those other things. His interactions with diverse celebrities and international business leaders reflect a preference for success and economic power over racial identity. Now, while some might argue that this approach constitutes a form of discrimination, many prefer to be judged by their economic achievements rather than their racial backgrounds. Economic situation, I can change. My racial background, I got what I got. Let's consider a specific instance from the 2016 presidential campaign. These glasses are killing me. I'm gonna take them off. Trump hosted a fundraiser that drew successful individuals from various fields, including entertainment, sports, and business. A particularly noteworthy event featured rapper Lil Wayne, entrepreneur Kim Kardashian, and former NFL player Herschel Walker. Here, Trump's focus was not on their race, but on their accomplishments, on their influence. His engagement centered on how their economic success could align with his vision for America. We all know what that is, MEGA, Make America Great Again. This is illustrating that his priorities are rooted in financial status rather than racial identity. I want you to think about something. Look at the Ku Klux Klan or David Duke and those guys. It's a different type of ideology. A true racist, they say don't like or have class preference, or if they're white only, or if they're Aryan Nation, they don't care how much money you got. They will, if you come up to them and you try to get into their country club and you're a billionaire and you're black, they'll say, nigga, I don't care how much money you got, you ain't coming in here. You will not see these type of racist people doing photo ops with black people if they don't like black people. You don't do that. You do not do that. No matter how much money you have, you will never see a KKK event featuring a black person who might expand or enhance their position. No, it doesn't happen. So let's understand class. So let's get back to Trump. He's an elitist. I will say that. And I'm gonna tell you why it's actually not a bad thing for someone to be an elitist. Now, let's explore the concept of class. Everyone, it's best to, you gotta, like they said, when you're going someplace, you gotta know where you're starting from to know where you're going. Okay, we're doing good on time. In the United States, we typically categorize income into several brackets. We got the lower class, which is significantly lower than that. You got the low class, but under $30,000. You got the low middle class, which is about $30,000 to $58,000. The middle class, now if you're, a lot of people say middle class, if you're in the true middle class, you're making between $58,000 and $94,000 a year. Now, if you're in the upper middle class, this is $94,000 to $153,000 period. Now, if you're in the not just the upper middle class, but now once you make it to the upper class, that's above $153,000 a year. Trump's social circle is not defined by race, but by elite economic status. He likes surrounding himself with individuals who possess wealth and influence. And wealth and influence is very important when you're trying to carry out a task. A broke person can't help another broke person. A wealthy person can help a broke person, can help multiple, can help thousands of millions of broke folk, so to speak. So know your class, know who he's for, better yourself. Now let's get into his business relationships. Trump's business dealings further highlight his elitist tendencies. Throughout his career, from diverse backgrounds, he partnered with people from diverse backgrounds as long as they can contribute financially. You see him with photo ops with Bill Cosby, with O.J. Simpson, with Lil Wayne, with Kanye West, all these people. You don't get that from a racist. So a true racist would likely reject a business opportunity based on prejudice. Trump, however, demonstrates a clear preference for capital over color. What about policy implications? Consider Trump's policies, such as the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. This legislation did not target any specific racial group. Instead, it primarily focused, or should I say primarily benefited the wealthy across all demographics. People say, oh, the demographic, he's prioritizing wealth. I'm gonna get into that in a minute and let you know how you lower the low middle class and all these other people on the bottom, it helps. Now, this is a hallmark of elitism. Policies designed to serve the affluent rather than promote racial equity. Additionally, Trump's personal connections reflect his preference for success and wealth, distinguishing his elitism from the rigid conformity typical of fascism. Now, I want you to think about something. People always say, oh, when he say, yeah, ship them all back, ship all the immigrants back to Mexico and all that type of stuff. Oh, let the people in from Finland. What's the difference between a Mexican on a whole, or Finnish people? Well, it's a different type of society. It's free education and things like that. So you have a lot more highly successful intellectual people in Finland. So when they come here, they contribute to the society on a whole. Now, when you have people coming from Mexico, on the most part, not all, but for the most part, they're coming here and they're taking, they need help. So they need housing, they need a job, they need money, they need welfare, they need all these different benefits and things like that say the Finnish people don't. So people say, oh, people of color, Trump is against, but the white people, he's for. No, it had to do with finances. Now let's talk about economic impact. Trump's elitism mirrors that of many of America's wealthiest individuals, including Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, and Elon Musk. Now, these figures dominate the economic landscape, providing employment. This is what I'm getting at, providing employment to millions across various sectors. Their success fuels economic growth, allowing countless workers, from warehouse staff to IT professionals, to thrive. Like these billionaires, Trump's approach is grounded in economic opportunity rather than exclusion. His policies may cater to the elite, but they also stimulate economic growth activity that benefits a broad range of individuals. If he was to, say, give Jeff Bezos, say, I'm giving you a tax break, a very big tax break, people will be mad. Why? What is Jeff Bezos gonna do if he get a tax break? Does he need any more money personally? No. Does he need more jets, more yachts, more houses? No. But what he will do if government give big business a major tax break, he's going to expand. Have you ever noticed all these warehouses, Amazon warehouses popping up all over the place? Those warehouses need people to work. Those people who are working are getting an income from the delivery drivers that are dropping packages off at your house at 4 in the morning, to them buying their own trucks to use to deliver packages, to the actual warehouse staff in these warehouses. When a warehouse comes to town, those towns are appreciative and know the impact. Now, these on the small scale, people don't pay attention to that. If you help the wealthy, it's a trickle-down effect that helps everybody. Like they say, high tides raise all ships. So whether you're in a big ship and Donald Trump raises this big ship, guess what else is going to happen? All the people on the lower level people, low socioeconomic people, their lifestyle is going to rise too. It's by happenstance. It's going to happen. Was his focus to help the little man? No, but by proxy, you get the same effect. Now let's move on to criminal justice reform. Another significant thing that he did a reform law that was signed by Trump that disproportionately benefited blacks. It benefited Black Americans. There's no doubt about that. This initiative was not initiated by racial favoritism. Rather, it aimed to achieve tangible outcomes in criminal justice reform. Now, this illustrates that Trump's decisions often prioritize results over racial identity. Like I said, I don't know if you ever got a chance to read the book, The Art of the Deal. I have. And his thing is, what can I do to make America great again? It's what every individual, every American should ask themselves. What can I do to make myself great? Maybe not great again, or make yourself great for the first time. So you ask yourself that on a micro level, and then you expand that to a macro level as far as the country. That's all he's thinking. How can I make America great again? You should ask yourself, how can I make myself great again? Same thing, you're gonna be aligned. If you really think about that, you will start to align yourself with this way of thinking, and it'll actually make the whole country even better. Now let's look at educational policy. Trump's focus on economic factors is also evident in his support for educational policies such as school choice and voucher program. Now, this primarily benefits families who can afford private schooling. This privatization of wealth over race is critical to understanding his approach. Racism is not about exclusion based solely on skin color. Elitism prioritizes economic standing. If you meet the financial criteria, you are welcome. Now, just to meditate on that for a second. What is he saying? Well, we'll get into that in the next segment. But I like Kamala Harris, but I don't know what she stands for. When she say tax big business and make them pay their fair share, they are paying their fair share when they open up, when they expand their business. They can't expand it and do the work by themselves. They have to hire people. So benefiting them, don't do that. But what he is doing, what Trump says, makes sense. He said, no tax on tips. So for all those workers who work on tips, no tax on tips. Next, Social Security, no tax on Social Security. And lastly, one of his other things is he wants to no tax on overtime. Wow. When I used to work 20, 30, 40 hours per pay period of overtime. And I would only get like half of that would go to taxes. And the other half I would get. So basically I'm still working for regular time, even though I was doing overtime. Imagine the impact of that for people who are workaholics or people who like to work. not having to pay tax on overtime. That's major. Whew. Now, this is the summary conclusion. In examining the labels often associated with Donald Trump, racist, fascist, or elitist, it becomes clear that his actions and policies align more closely with the elitism rather than fascism or racism. Elitism emphasizes wealth and power, focusing on who can contribute economically rather than racial identity. Trump's preference for successful individuals, regardless of race, highlights this approach. Now, while his policies, such as the Tax Cuts and Jobs Acts and criminal justice reform initiatives may cater to the wealthy, they also promote economic activity that benefits a wide range of people. In contrast, fascism seeks strict social control and often targets marginalized groups for exclusion and characteristic of that does not define Trump's interactions or governance. Ultimately, understanding these distinctions is crucial for a nuanced view of Trump's political identity. While critics may label him as a racist or fascist or whatever, his primary focus appears to be on financial success and influence of the country, framing him as a figure noted in elitism rather than an authoritarian or dictators type ideologies often attributed to him. So today I want to say thank you for joining me as we unpack this multifaceted identity. If you found this analysis insightful, please consider liking or subscribing to this page, Horace Unplugged. Until the next time, I look forward to seeing you. Have a good day. Get out there and vote.